right, everybody. Welcome to The Hidden Window, episode number 12. For those of you keeping score at home, hope you all had a good week. Bob, down there in the bunker. Hope things are good and you're knocking it out of the park, Bob. All right, so as we always do, let's search. And I mean search for some lighthearted news. I spend more time on this program looking up lighthearted news than I do anything. It's getting so hard to find. It's almost impossible. So let's go down to Kyle, Texas. So I don't know where Kyle, Texas is other than the fact that it's in Texas. What they did down there, they tried to break the Guinness Book of World Records. They have something, and this is their second attempt. All right, and they're planning a third, which I don't think that's too well founded. But anyhow, so what was the Guinness Book of World Records they're trying to break? This was their second attempt at having something known as the Gathering of the Kyles. So, if your name was Kyle and you were invited, want to show up to Kyle, Texas on this date, they were trying to get everyone named Kyle in one city and in one town at one time. Well, guess what? Sorry, folks, it failed. They got 1,760 Kyles. That was well short of the record that to this day is still held in Bosnia, where they have the Gathering of the Ivans. I don't think it's too hard to find Ivans in Bosnia. I guess they're everywhere. So Kyle thought, we can do it. We can beat it. I'm sorry. I'm not a defeatist. I don't want to get someone away from a great idea. If you want to gather down there and hang on to Kyle, Texas, and have a couple beers and burgers and get all the Kyles together, just don't think you're going to break any world records. My thought is, why are you even trying at all? You can go to any town in the Middle East. I mean any. Go to some town in Pakistan and you say the name Muhammad. Half of the town's going to turn around and look at you. So if you have the Gathering of the Mohammeds, they're going to win hands down every time. I don't care what city you go to in the Middle East. The Gathering of the Mohammeds would just flat out win. So you're wasting your time, folks, down there in Kyle. But if you want to do it, knock yourself out. No hair off my back.
There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered.
Alrighty there, folks. So good to hear Bert. If I came up with another name without being turned off by the Yoo-Hoo Mafia, I would. But, Bert's cool. I like Bert. Today, we're going to delve into something that most people are going to say, well, now he's just off the rails. He's just, what in the world is he talking about now? So, bear with me. 432 hertz versus 440 hertz. Most people say, don't know, don't care, how's that? And I would probably be one of those up until the point where I started reading on this. So first off, what is a hertz? A hertz is just a cycle. Something that happens in a period over 1 second. Let's say you're on a beach and you're putting your toes in the ocean and one wave hits and you wait and then another wave hits. That would be a hertz. That would be one cycle. So hertz is nothing more than, it's vibrations, okay? It's vibration. It's sound waves. And you think, well, so what? And I'm not talking about intensity. We all know decibels. Decibels hurt your ears. You go to a jet engine, a rock band, they're going to hurt your ears. I'm talking about the vibration that sound makes. It comes in very, very specific frequencies. Now, these frequencies have an effect. They have a material effect on things that you can touch. I'm going to give a few examples. Now, most people have a microwave. How does a microwave work? Well, it sends waves that just go at such a high pitch and frequency, just vibration, that it causes heat. That's how things are heated up. So most people have a microwave. You can start wrapping your head around this. Let's talk about some waves in history that vibration and sound waves had a very, very strong effect on what happened. I'm going to go back to the Wall of Jericho. Remember the story? They circled Jericho, Joshua's men, for 6 days. They would stomp on the ground, and at the end of going around the circle, they would blow a horn. On the 7th day, the walls came down. All right, so that was There's some people say, well, I don't know if that's true. Well, it happened. Okay, that happened in the Bible, the walls of Jericho. Let's turn to something else. A lot of folks like Tesla. Nikolai Tesla, interesting guy. I love anything Ivana Tesla I like to read. He had something called the internal residence theory. His idea that if you took, everything had a sweet spot to him. Every item, every piece of metal. Metal's not solid. It looks like it to us, but it's really not. But he deduced that if you could find the sweet spot on, let's say, a steel structure building, and you just bombarded this with one beat, you found its internal resonance, you would hit it. And he did. He found this building in New York City. He found its internal resonance, and he had like a little pendulum, and it would send out one beat, then another, and then another, followed by more. You would think, well, so what? This building, after a while, began to sway wildly. He was about to bring this building down. He panicked. He stopped the study. So there are two effects. When you could have a hertz, and you just point it at an object, you do something, and it will have a physical effect. Now, again, some of you might say at this point right now, you know what? That's theory. You can't prove it. You can't go back in the Bible and prove how Jericho, the walls came down. Tesla, that's the theory. It's not true. We don't know. So let's turn to some fact for you doubting Mufasas out there, okay? 1831. 2 battalions of British soldiers were crossing over a bridge. It was a suspension bridge. This bridge collapsed. The reason they found out why, these British soldiers were walking in cadence. They were in marched step. You see stories watch on movies where the soldiers are walking in lockstep. That vibration, that constant vibration, that constant hertz, that particular resonance brought down this bridge. Now, to this day, and still in the British, if you're in the British military, they're in their logs, their playbook, it is forbidden to this day for soldiers to cross over a bridge in that formation. They have to walk in something called break step. They can't go in the same step. So the British military believed in it. They put it in all their army manuals. Now, 10 years later, it happened to the French at an area called Angers, France. Now, the same thing happened. This time, it was a much larger unit. It wasn't the weight, because battalions of soldiers were crossing over this bridge for days. Again, a suspension bridge. They had one that marched over it. There were 2 of them, 2 large battalions, and they went in regimental format. They went in march stepped. That bridge came down. About 250 soldiers were killed. So the reason I bring all this up, these are facts. Vibration does have an effect. If you have a hertz, and you take that hertz and you put it at a very special frequency, it will have a physical effect. It's proven. I gave 2 areas, Tesla, Jericho. Then I gave you 2 facts that happened to 2 army battalions, 1 British, 1 French. So we know it's out there. We know it exists. The question you want to ask yourself now is, well, we know it has a physical effect, but can it have an emotional effect? Can this have an effect on your sense of well-being? We know it affects material, but what about the human as a whole? Well, interestingly enough, the NIH, for those of you in the follow the science crowd, are going to like this. The NIH did a study. It was published in Explorer magazine in 2019. Now, this was a double-blind placebo crossover study. I've been doing clinical studies my whole career. That is the strongest clinical evidence you're going to find. What that means is neither the participants or the ones giving the trial knew about what was being given. So what they did, they took 2 groups of people, okay? They subjected them to either 440 hertz or 432 hertz. Again, double-blind crossover. So no one knew what was happening. All the bias in this trial was rolled out. Guess what they found? 432 hertz was correlated with lower blood pressure, lower heart rate, and better breathing. General well sense of being was found at 432 hertz. Okay, so we went across two things. We know that a hertz can affect a physical property. We know now that a hertz can also affect your emotional well-being. It affects your body, okay? It has an effect. These aren't random numbers. They took also these, you can do it. You guys want to do it? It's a little hard to replicate. I tried to do it this morning. I saw things on the Yoo-hoo where they took a very large metal plate. You have to do this on a flat area. But if you took a very large metal plate and put some sand on it, I think that's what they used, and played music on a speaker at 432 hertz, and then you subjugated it to 440 hertz, you will notice a difference. We tried it outside this morning. What it does at 432, it resonated. It would make the sand on this plate went into a pattern. It went into a shape. Nature loves shapes. You ever see a snowflake? It has a pattern. It has a symmetry. Nature likes patterns. It doesn't like random chaos. When you went into 440 hertz, that same sand was in random chaos. It has an effect. It is there. Again, why am I saying that? What is the big so what? Well, 432 hertz was probably the more widely accepted range of music for a long, long time. Back in 1889, France tried to change it a little bit. They went to 450 hertz, then 440, never really caught on. And then in 1939, it was mandated that 432 was no longer going to be, how is it made? A tuning fork, by the way, folks. I didn't know this. A tuning fork is how you get all your music. So in 1939 in Germany, you know who was running the show then? The Nazis. They did it. Actually, it was Joseph Goebbels, the minister of propaganda. He mandated, he ordered that all tuning forks be switched over from 432 to 440. The same thing was tried in the United States by David Rockefeller. You got to ask yourself, why is that so important? Why did they want to do this? You have something it's what, 8 hertz off? Guess what? That makes all the difference in the world. We went over physical manifestations, the mental, the spiritual well-being. They knew this too. They took their time, and they wanted everything to be changed to 440 hertz. Guess where music is today, folks? 440 hertz. Now, my son is an aficionado of music. He actually played at a symphony level. He's the one that came up with a song for the Hidden Window, and he listened to music. You can pick out your favorite song. You'll have to go onto Yoo-hoo and do this, but he played it at 432 and then again at 440. He saw a marked difference. The one at 432 sounded better. It resonated better. So, again, is that strange to you? It's strange to me. Why would they take all this time to do that? And why would they mandate something that now we know has a physical and psychological effect on your overall environment and your body? There are studies now to prove this, okay? Why? Why would they go out of the way to do this? I think they did. I scratched my head, but it's not good. Then again, nothing they do is good. You can't think of anything these guys do at that level, the they, them. I'm going to start calling it it. Maybe it's it. I don't know. It's not our well-being. Our well-being is 432, but they don't want that. All right? Call me crazy. Look it up. Again, the purpose of this show is not to just say, here's the facts, folks. It's to make you go, I never heard of that. Look it up. Studies, history, Goebbels, Rockefeller, it all ties in, and it doesn't tie into a very pretty picture to me. It's odd, and it's there. It's a fact. It's part of our daily lives, folks. All right, you know what? I always wrap it up with kind of my random thoughts. And you always wonder, if you're going to have an effect. And once in my life, well, actually now twice now. That's why I'm bringing this up. Once in my life, I had an effect. This was about 6 years ago, going through a drive-through window at a local establishment that sold ice cream. Not going to say their name. And they had Braille on the side of the board. And I'm thinking to myself, why is there? And I know why there's Braille on the side of a bank. But that makes sense on the side of an ATM. You could have someone behind you. You pull up to the window and you get to the next, you drive up so the passenger seat can do it and they can work on Braille if they want to do it, have a little sense of privacy with their bank account. I could see that. But a drive-up window for ice cream? Now I'm like, wait a minute. So I asked the kid, I said, why is there a drive-up window have Braille on it? I don't know, man. Well, don't you think that's kind of odd? I sell ice cream. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. It's there, I don't know, dude. So me being me, I walked in, parked the car, went inside, asked the manager, why do you have Braille outside on your drive-up window for ice cream? Oh, in case people need to, they can't see. I said, well, if they can't see, how they can be driving? Oh, I don't. Well, I said, well, in case maybe someone else in the car. Well, what are they going to do? Climb over the driver's seat and get you or something? Or why can't you say, hey, you want a chocolate ice cream or vanilla? I'll give you a chocolate cone. You don't need Braille for that. Well, again, me being me, I kept it up for a while. Went to another, and they didn't have it. After a while, this place took it down. So I felt like, you know what? I accomplished something. I got rid of Braille at a drive-up freaking window. Maybe they took it down because it fell off. I don't know. But I thought back in my mind, you know what? I did that. Maybe I had a hand in that at least. So it happened once again. I said a second time happened. I heard these flat earthers. And flat earth, it interests me. I like all things conspiracy. I like reading on it. Doesn't mean I believe it. But there were two guys that were going at it at a bar. And one was he was a rabid flat earther. The other guy's like, you're nuts. And they were going back and forth and back and forth. And then they were joined by a third flat earther and a fourth flat earther getting this guy. And I'm like hearing their thoughts and the reasons why. And they were coming up with all the reasons. And then they asked me, what are your thoughts? I said, nah, can't be. Well, how come? You heard all this. I said, because by now it'd be a tourist attraction. What? Yeah, well, if there was the end of the earth and it was there and you could see it and someone saw it, everyone there, there'll be a tourist attraction. They make money off it. It's all about money. And there's no tourist attraction, so there's no flat earth. And they all just stopped. There was no comeback. There was no response. It was just like dead silence. Like, I never thought of that before. Well, I felt again like, well, and I stopped some of the tracks. I don't care if they don't believe that the earth is round. It doesn't bother me, but it was fun. Then I just stopped them by just, giving the old tourist attraction analogy out. And I never heard that one before. I hit him right between the eyes. All right, everybody. That is it. I had a whole nother show lined up for this, by the way, but it went down a rabbit hole so quick. What's in the news? And I'm like, all right, I'll wait. I'll wait for the news to iron itself out. Okay, everybody, have a good week. Bob in the bunker. Stay safe. Be good. We'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.